Like my father used to say, I don't like to.
So the next level of the work is directly the intimacy work. And you'll see that this resonance we were talking about, going from authenticity to integrity and into intimacy. And intimacy, generally when we hear the word intimacy, we think sex, because we've exiled intimacy into the physical. But intimacy is really about moving directly and dealing with the emotional component of our experience. And you'll see that the authenticity work is this work I'm doing with my boss on my own whenever I get upset, just in general daily life. That's the authenticity work. I'm regaining my authenticity. The work with my family, again, is the integrity. Remember, we said that integrity is related to structure. We said that integrity is related to structure, right? And what integrity is about, what is used for what, which building materials for which applications. So again, this is understanding the different dynamics of the structure of what we can call the portal, and what is used for what, and what is the condition of what, and what is the work required to bring so that I can become my own guidance, I can nurture myself, I can take ongoing responsibility for my own healing or the condition of my own emotional body, and that I can read and accept my life experience to be true, so that I can follow the teaching given to me that leads me into the opening of the portal. Because all I have to do is follow my own life experience. When you really, when the penny drops, you'll just laugh because it's so simple. The whole thing is so simple, really. It's the difference between realizing what is needed and wanted and what is required. And the thing is, you can't bullshit it, even if you mentally understand it, because what is required is what is given. It doesn't require any effort. It's what's given. And right at the moment, what's required is we're here. You might need and want something out of that. That's got nothing to do with what's going on here. What's required is what's actually happening, right? Because that's what's given. And as we go through each day, what is required makes itself known. It's literally placed in our laps. That's what's required for our journey. We add stuff to that all the time because that's what we need and want. Oh, but I need a new car, or I want to speak to this person, or all this needs and wants comes out of this emotional signature. And so it's easy to see the difference between the two. Eventually you can see, oh, okay, what's required is given. Actually, if I just allow things to flow and be with what is and move with it, right? I'm gonna use way less energy. I'm gonna contain my energy. My health is gonna improve, everything, and I'm never gonna go off course because I just pay attention to what's required. If I get a sucker punch from the universe, I'm like, ooh, that's what's required. Good, let's go with that. Right? It's very challenging, but actually it's so simple. You know, whatever unfolds is what's required. That's what will take us on our journey. It's deliberately orchestrated, right? The needs and wants are what we're adding to it and trying to stop it and sedate it and control it. And the work is to eventually bring that behavior to a stillness. And actually really say, you know, I don't know what I require. I wouldn't recognize it if it was shown to me. That's one of the indicators too of what I require. I didn't recognize it. I didn't want it. I definitely didn't need it, but it showed up. That must be what I require, right? So I have this engagement and I go there and I can't get there because I get stuck in the traffic. I don't need or want to be stuck in the traffic. It's what I require. And once we start living in that resonance, there's a whole Because in order to live in that resonance requires that we awaken being as opposed to doing as our primary means of impacting the causal part of our experience. In other words, can I be with what is? Because the more I'm able to be with what is, the more I bring the radiance of this frequency called being. This is the frequency of being into my life. I'm really bringing the causal point in. But it's I can't just go there and go, this is what happens, you know. We'll get people to go, well, you just got to be, right? Just be at peace, right? The peace is already here. Just be there. Just, that's all that's required, right? Just be one, okay? Just be one already, right? And so you might get a group of people and you can feel one and peaceful, right? Together, oh, yeah. You walk out the door and go home and, right? Because you can't lie about this, nor can you ignore it. And until it is consciously resolved, it is going to drive us into needy and wanting behavior, into sticky behavior. That is going to complicate things and really, right? That's where all the suffering comes from, is from that. So yes, what I require is given, but my job is to really go in here and take care of this. And the important thing about this is it's organic, right? The problem with one of our challenges is we sit here so much. And because we sit in the mental body believes information is knowledge. And so the mental body reads a book and the book goes, oh, this is what it takes to be enlightened. Okay, bring on the enlightenment. I want it now. I want it now. Okay, I got to clear my emotional body. Okay, let's put the schedule out. I'm going to do this week. I'll do my fear this week. I'll do my anger this next week, and I'll do my grief the week after, and then I will be in the vibrational again, right? But this emotional body, this heart, doesn't operate like that. The heart is organic. The mental body believes it's God and that it functions almost independently of anything else, right? So the mental body goes, I should be able to be enlightened now, whatever that is. And to the mental body also has a definition of enlightenment. To the mental body, enlightenment is there will be a firework display. I will know absolutely everything about everything, and I will grin like a Cheshire cat for the rest of my life. I'll be enlightened, right? And I want it now. Right? Which is the same as a peach tree saying, a peach tree this big saying, where are the peaches? I read a book about peaches. I read this book, it told me I'm a peach tree and that I can have peaches. I want the peaches now, right? And I want them now because what the mental body believes is that it's completely alone in the universe. It's completely alone, and its behavior comes out of that belief. It behaves the same way as a cell that we call cancer. When a cell becomes cancerous and just starts doing its own thing in the body, that's how the mental body behaves when it plays the role of God. And so a peach tree this big first has to develop roots, because to contain all that fruit, I don't know if you've ever picked peaches on a ripe peach tree and seen how many baskets of peaches come off that peach tree and how heavy that is. And that tree has to hold that fruit up, which means it needs really deep roots into the earth. Then it needs to have a strong trunk, right, to hold that fruit up off the ground, because if the fruit's lying on the ground, it's going to get messed up. That trunk has also got to be able to hold that fruit in the wind when the wind blows. And then it needs all these branches and leaves, enough leaves to take in enough light. And all that development has to be done before the flowering phase even starts. Only when all that development is done does the flowering phase start. And the flowering is a really freaky phase, because the flower doesn't look anything like the rest of the plant, right? And so when the flowering, normally when we start flowering, we run and talk to someone about it. Go, there's something going on. I can feel something. Can you help me stop it? Right? The flowering phase is very strange. It's very uncomfortable. And only after the flowering comes the bee, and the bee pollinates, and the fruit is given. And the flower, the peach tree doesn't say, open its flowers and go, bees, come on, I want so many bees for, it doesn't work like that. And the peach tree doesn't function in isolation to the rest of the world. It requires the soil, the beings that live in the soil, the climate, the birds. It requires all sorts of elements around it, the sun, the rain, everything, in order to come to fruit. It doesn't just happen in isolation. The mental body believes that everything happens in isolation. And this is why you will only get to the family work when the family is ready to do the work. That's how it is. We're doing this together, although it looks like, because we get into the mental place, that we're doing this alone. But it's not true. Everyone who enters your space is affected by you when you do this work. Everybody. The shopkeeper, everyone gets affected by the resonance. Because what's happening is, as we open up to this resonance, this vibrational resonance is coming through. It's impacting everything around us. It's very powerful. It's not just about me, right? My fruit is for everybody.
You say the family doesn't lie, but if you have a pattern of a critical mother or critical father,
yes,
then where's the truth in that?
Well, the truth will, you see, there's 3 levels going on, right? And the first level is the physical world. And the physical world looks like this. Those people over there are always gossiping, you know? They don't seem to have anything to do but talk about other people. Just watch them. They stand around talking about other people all day. Don't they have anything better to do? And they're probably talking about me too. And I wish they'd just find something else to do but talk about other people, right? That's the physical world level. And when we sort of awaken into a more presence and we start moving into the mental, then we realize that what we're doing, why they annoy us so much is because what we're doing all the time. We're the ones talking about other people. We're standing there gossiping about other people. So we suddenly become aware of our behavior. Because while we're in the physical world, we're only aware of people's behavior towards each other and towards us. And then in the mental world, we become aware of our behavior towards other people. And then when we enter the emotional realm, we become aware of our behavior towards ourselves. And then, when I'm gossiping to myself about myself, I'm saying, Michael, you're no good. You're never going to get it right. You know what? You're never going to amount to anything, right? And that actual behavior of that gossiping to myself, at its causal point, has an emotional signature, right? So the question to ask yourself is, where are you criticizing yourself? And what's the emotional signature underlying that? And when that is integrated, then your mother's behavior transforms, right? So it's about going deep into the level because actually there is only one relationship going on. There is only one relationship going on. The one I'm having with myself. And what myself is this. And the way I interact with myself is through the feeling body. So the relationship I have with my own feelings is my authentic relationship with myself. However I am with my own feelings is how I am with myself. If I'm angry and I go, okay, I can't be angry now, I've got to be peaceful, right? So I'm messing with myself then. Then I'm not, when you get angry, I'll go, don't be angry, be peaceful, right? And then when a whole group of people over there start getting angry, I go, hey, let's have peace, right? Because it's all going to reflect my relationship with myself. There is only that primary relationship. And that's the only relationship we have to get right. That's the only place that we require being without condition or unconditional love, being without condition, before it authentically radiates into my behavior towards you and I start to perceive it as the resonance of my world, right? And it works like that so powerfully. One of my greatest teachers in this was cigarette smoking. It was my greatest teacher because I loved smoking cigarettes. I loved it. I loved it, right? And today when I see people smoking, I always say, enjoy it while it lasts. And when I see people smoking like an extra mild super filter menthol, I go, man, come on, smoke a decent cigarette at least. If you're going to smoke some tobacco, right? And for me, what I noticed was when I quit smoking, but I actually didn't deal with the emotional signature, the smokers around me didn't go away. They just annoyed me. Right? But when I totally resolved the emotional signature underlying smoking, to the point that there's no ways I'm going to put a cigarette in my mouth now. And when I see people smoking, I don't even relate to it. It looks like an extraterrestrial to me. What the hell is that, right? I can't even relate to it anymore. It has from being like my lover to being like, what the hell is that, right? Now, I don't know one person who smokes. I don't know one human being who smokes in my world. It's gone. Wow, that's some power. Imagine what else I can clear out. I didn't do anything to anybody else though. I went to the emotional signature, right? I went to the emotional signature. So that's the power within all the work. Underlying everything is an emotional signature. We're only talking about the discomfort, that which causes us discomfort, right? Underlying that is an yes?
This question, you talk about the emotional signature, the discomfort. The way to recognize the emotional signature is because it's triggering the discomfort?
Well, initially, what most people recognize the emotional signature as the story. Most people. Because we're living in the story. Most of us are living in the story. There's a story we're telling. Oh, I just don't get on with my mother. I just don't get on with my mother, right? Whatever that story is, or my husband is just never going to get it right, or I shouldn't have done this, or whatever the story is. Normally, we live in the story, and that's where we can start to identify the emotional signature. Then we have to sink beneath it, because underlying that story is a feeling. It's a feeling, and once we develop, that's why developing emotional body awareness, remember when our feeling body has been shut down most of our life, it takes a while to develop it, to awaken it. We've been functioning purely in the mental physical realm. And that's why we have the presence process. It really enables us to mine into the earth of the feeling, into the core of the feeling. Right? Underlying that story is a feeling. That's the emotional signature. And that feeling, that felt aspect of the experience, it's the felt aspect, resonates within our physical vehicle somewhere. It's locked in there somewhere. And so it's very easy, once you tune into the feeling and where it is in the physical vehicle, to just place the attention on it and allow it to be there. Be with it. Be with it. That's all that's required. Nothing more than that. Nothing more. Don't do anything to it. That's what we've been engaged in our whole lives, is doing something to it, right? And the more we put our attention on it and give it our attention consciously, the more it's going to come up in our awareness in a way that we can integrate it. When we don't put our attention on it and push it out, it comes out there. It's always going to be there in some form or another. It's either going to come up out there or in here. We can use the out there to get in here, but if we don't take care of it internally, it will come out there. Right.
So there are some approaches that, let's say you have to get back to like a causative event or something relative, or that same emotion and thing keeps coming up.
The causative event is hard to get to because it probably happened a few thousand years ago or longer.
Right.
And so the causative event is downloaded into us in the first 7 years as an emotional signature.
So none of it's personal.
It's not personal.
Personal life.
None of this is personal.
Right.
Right. Although we take it very personally when it comes up. Because it's imprinted, yeah, we do. It's imprinted into us in a personal experience. The first 7 years is very personal, the way it's tattooed. But actually, the story we tell ourselves about our childhood isn't true. Even though it happened in the way it happened. The actual truth about it is the feeling that it brings up, that it catches. That entire event, the physical, mental, and emotional sequence of the childhood is designed to bring that into this experience and to lodge it in a place where I can get to it. so that I can now consciously get to it and integrate it. That's its only purpose. Everything else is a story. That's why therapy as a traditional verbal therapy doesn't work. If it worked, we wouldn't be going back for 15 years to the same therapist, right? If talking actually was useful, the whole planet would be at peace, right?
We do this work in our family, and then so that we heal the family?
No, we don't do it so that we heal the family. We do it so that we heal ourselves.
But people around us change.
But we don't do it because of that.
Okay, but they change.
No, the way we relate to them may change. We may find out that they're actually great just the way they are. Once I can see him, when I can't see him, I don't like the way he is. Well, when I awaken from the state of hypnosis and I can see him, then I go, oh no, you're pretty cool the way you are. I kind of like hanging out with you. Remember that when we look at our family, most of us, until we've done the family work, we see a jar of cookies, a pot of tea. We don't see who's standing in front of us. We see a ghost, a phantom, right? We don't see the person. We can't see the person. It's very difficult. And that's why that level of hypnosis will only peel off once the signature is resolved.
I have an 11-year-old, so I guess it doesn't matter what I do, she's going to grow up and it'll be she may have issues, right? Can this happen at any age? I mean, could a child have emotional
Well, the first thing is that
awareness?
you didn't do anything to your 11-year-old. You did something with your 11-year-old. There's a big difference. You have that being has an agreement to be going on that journey with you. For you to say you did it to them is to the peach tree once again going, I'm alone in the universe, right? It's a group thing going on, right? And the thing about children, one of the powerful barometers of this work is when you do it to yourself, watch what happens to the children. Your 11-year-old, if you look at the way they're behaving, there is an emotional signature there that comes up, otherwise you wouldn't even be concerned, right?
Well, not really. I'm not concerned. I'm
Right.
concerned for the future for her.
No, well, don't be. He or she is having their own experience, right? That's their experience. The thing is to take care of your experience. The best thing for children is to set an example of what this is, of this work. Children get it, but they don't get it through words or telling them what to do. They get it through the way we respond to our own experience. They watch very carefully. They get it energetically. And our children, you see, what we do is, when we don't do inner child work, because really all this is really what inner child work is. I'm going back to my child self, and I'm actually going to bring my child self here. This is the power of this work, right? This is the power of alchemy. It really is, on some level, time travel. And although we don't know what time travel is, we think you've got to get in this vehicle and you go 1952 and go jump out, and here I am in 1952, and then I go back to it, right? No, it's not that at all. In my experience, I was able to go back to myself the day before I realized my father had killed himself, and say to myself, listen, dude, the shit is about to hit the fan. There's going to be an experience happening here that is going to knock you right over, right? I just want you to chill out while it happens. It's going to happen. You're going to feel fear, anger, and grief. You know what? I'm going to sit with you while it happens. I'm going to be with you while it happens, because no one around you knows what to do. They're all going to be so freaked out about it, but you know what? I want you to know something. Even though you think you're going to die, you didn't die. You lived, right? And I'm proof of it, because I'm now in America. I've written a book. Right? I'm having a groovy time, right? So we didn't die, right? And I go back to, so don't worry about it. This is going to happen. We can't change what happens, but what we can change is the way we are with it. We're just going to be with it. So chill out, right? And when I go with that part of my being, it has such a relief, it has a release as it goes through the experience. And the resistance created by that experience, because it couldn't digest it, is no longer there. That energy flows and it impacts my experience right now. What happened back then no longer impacts me in that way. It doesn't bring up fear, anger, and grief when I put my attention there, because I changed it there. And I didn't change the experience. I didn't change what happened. It's never about change. Don't want to interfere with what happens. But how I was being there, I went and with myself. And the profound thing is, I have experiences today, right, when I go through things that are pretty weird, and it's almost like there's someone sitting with me and saying, listen, Michael, this is a pretty strange thing that's going on now, right? I just want to tell you that I made it, right? And I'm sitting with you. I'm sitting with you through this. So I just want you to chill out, right? Like right now on this planet, there's a voice that says to me, listen, Michael, this planet's about to go through some really weird stuff. People are going to start freaking out. There's going to be some strange things going on. You know what? This is part of the journey, and I just want you to chill out. Just take it easy, right? Because we get through this. And that person may be speaking to me from, 2050, I don't know, coming back because I go ahead to make a place for you. We say, I go ahead to make a place for you. I went ahead to make a place for my child self. And then I reached back and I grabbed my child and I brought it here and I go, I'm your parent. I'm going to take care of you because nobody else could. I'm the only parent you're ever going to have that really loves you and can be with you as you are. No one else has the capacity. They're all full of need and want, and they're never going to see you as you are. That's my job. That's my job. And when I take that role, the child comes into my life, and therefore my life is imbued with more creativity and playfulness because I've brought the child here, right? The child is always with me. And that's what this work is about. We literally reach back, grab the child, bring it here. And in the same light, that same thing is happening on another level, right? And we'll call that part of ourselves, we'll give it some deity name or something. But there's a part of us that's looking out for us now. It's this part. It's the part of us that guides us into these experiences, that guides us to the right books, that says, it looks like things are going crazy, but just stay calm. Just respond to it. Don't react to it, right? Because your reaction now is going to impact things down the line, right?
I just want to say that partly from during the process, I've noticed that I've gotten a little more immature in some of my relationships at home where I feel very safe. I'm just kind of a little goofy with...
Yes.
Well, I've always been goofy with my animals, but
Right.
now it's like I'm goofy with my husband. I feel like I'm sounding sort of childlike with him, and my son, who's
Yes.
a 17-year-old, who thinks I'm totally nuts.
Yeah.
And you said, to sort of, take care of your emotional healing,
Yeah.
but at least with a teenager, where he's at anyway, mom's disgusting to be
Right.
acting like that,
Yeah. Well, you haven't seen me yet at home, so...
No, I'm kind of curious.
Well, that's the whole thing, you see.
But that's part of the process.
It'll happen, it's
It doesn't
unfold.
look
It's a-
very mature.
No, it's not. It's a beautiful part of the process to just,
just
no.
silly.
Yeah. It's all going to unfold. It's all going to unfold like that, right? Yeah. So on people that you feel that you have that intimacy with, you will behave like a fool. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because we're not on our best behavior anymore. And so what happens is society gives us a parameter in which to operate, and that's the only thing that's acceptable. And what happens is once the emotional body actually starts to evolve, we kind of spill out of that parameter, right? And all sorts of weird, goofy behavior,
I've
right?
been good for too long.
Exactly.
So mature.
Yeah, I know, it's too much effort. It's way too much effort, right? And you become quite irreverent.
Yes.
Because those things that we have such reverence, all those sacred cows, are actually just made out of the emotional signature. So we just, as we go along, right? So, well, that whole section just came. So I would like to address the relationship side of things, the intimacy side of things. But I think maybe we take a 5 minute or so time out, and then we'll come back and we'll look at intimacy with another human being, and what does that really look like in relationship to this work. All right, so let's take ourselves a break.